Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second Every Child Ready to Read webinar. We have Sue McLeaf-Neskepa, who is going to be our presenter today, and I will bring up her presentation. And I think while I was clicking on that, I mispronounced Sue's name. I will go ahead and unmute Sue, and we will get started. Thank you, everyone, for attending. If you have any questions, please use the chat box, and let's see what Sue has to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen, and welcome everyone. We're going to talk about early literacy and learning spaces in your library. So this actual workshop, we're going to discuss how your physical space and an environment can actually affect the child's early literacy and learning experiences, because what we want to try to do is to encourage children to visit the library more often and also to stay longer while they're there. Encourage more attendance at youth programs, and just provide a lot of quality experiences for the child. We really want the child to think the library is a fun place to go and they really want to come there often. Okay, I'm having trouble advancing for some reason. There we go. Sorry. Okay, apologies for that. All right, to get ready to read, children need an environment that supports early literacy and learning. And I really feel that the library can play a major role. But how we organize our space, how we structure it, is going to make a difference in how children are going to engage with their surroundings, and then, how much they're actually going to learn. Every library, like every child, is unique. The size of libraries are different, the number of staff you have, the budget, the number of resources, all can make a difference. But what I want to try to do today is talk about some inexpensive ways. Some are more expensive than others, but some inexpensive ways that you can create some wonderful early literacy experiences within your library. And we also want to increase the interaction between the parents and the children. So we're going to go through a little bit of design stuff first, then we're going to get into what I call the fun stuff. Okay, so what are some of these design principles we want to think about? We want to think about colors and shapes and textures and light and space. We want to make sure our materials are attractive and well organized, that children can easily access our materials, and we also want to include some spaces that are interactive. So let's talk about the design principle of having an appealing environment. Walk into your library, try to see it with whole new eyes. Is it creating a good first impression? Does your library welcome young children? Is it inviting? Is it uncluttered? How is your signage and visual clues? I've walked into libraries sometimes where I can't even find certain types of books. So what's your signage like, the visual clues? What kind of graphics do you have? Are they appealing to young children? Then as far as displays, one of the things libraries have started to do is to copy what I call the bookstore philosophy, where they have some displays that are face out, that you can see the front covers of the book, which makes it very appealing. I'm sure a lot of you use seasonal or thematic displays, and we need to remember to change or rotate those displays. And I love some of the displays libraries have done and how they change them every couple of weeks and how appealing they are. I've seen that in different libraries when I travel around the country. As far as easy access to materials, we want to put as much as possible at that child's eye level. Now, in the Every Child Ready to Read project, of course, we're talking about children from babies on up through like age 5 or 6. So we want to have things at a level where they can see it, where they can grab the thing, the books, or CDs or whatever. We want to create some small nooks that will have materials at an easy reach for them, possibly using small scale furniture, or having open floor space or beanbag chairs, etc. So those are just a couple. We're going to talk about all this in more detail. And then making sure things are interactive. We want to include play. Play is one of the primary ways that young children learn. So we want to create opportunities for play within the library. Have a few small spaces. Each space should accommodate a couple children. And then have places that actually have a purpose, like a little drama area or a writing area or like your listening stations. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 5 early literacy practices. This is from the Every Child Ready to Read program. And those 5 practices are talking and singing, reading, writing, and playing. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on each one of these areas and talk about what we could create in our library, what type of space, or what can we do in our library to encourage talking, to encourage singing, to encourage reading, to encourage writing, and to encourage play. Now, I'm going to have a little disclaimer here right at the beginning. Some of these ideas that I'm showing you might sound familiar to some of you who actually attended one of the 3 workshops I did the previous month in Michigan, because we did a little brainstorming session and I grabbed what I thought were some of the best ideas from those brainstorming sessions and I'm sharing them here. Some are my ideas, some are ideas from librarians in Michigan, and I hodgepodged them all together, and I think we've come up with some really good ways that we can create spaces that will encourage these 5 early literacy practices. So we're going to start out with talking. So we're putting that principle into practice. What are ways, different spaces we can set up in our library that will encourage children to talk? Now, to talk is actually helping them with their narrative skills, which is an important early literacy skill. So here are some of those things. I think one of the best things you can do for talking is actually having some type of puppet theater. It doesn't have to be as elaborate as what we're looking at here. I have seen puppet stages that are just tabletop things that are relatively inexpensive. But whatever you can do to have a little puppet theater and some puppets, if you're fortunate enough to know someone who could actually make something for you, that's better yet. I know that I had, my husband was a firefighter, and the firemen, on their off hours, actually built me a wonderful stage one time. It was fabulous. This is really good. Puppet theaters and having puppets there, children will come in and they will just jabber and jabber and jabber. So they love, pick up the puppets and moving them and having them talk. So this is a wonderful thing for narrative skills. The next thing I'm going to show you, it says, tell me a story. If you are fortunate enough to have some very, very large stuffed animal, all I would do to this bear is add a sign in front of him or a sign around his neck where it says, tell me a story. And it has a little chair there that kids can sit down and be looking at a book and telling them a story, or just even talking to the bear and telling them things that are going on. So tell a story to Mr. Bear or whatever creature you might have. Now this picture, this is just one example. You could also use pictures from a book. If you have maybe possibly a picture book, a paperback picture book that's fallen apart and you're ready to, toss it, you could take the pages from it. But anyhow, you have these pages from a story, or even just one picture. Like this is just one picture. And then you have a sign. Can the child make up a story that goes along with the picture? Like, can they tell what's happening in this picture? It looks like a picnic, and what animals are attending, and so have what I call picture stories of an individual picture or an actual popular book where they can tell the story. We're going to talk about this next one more later, but this is because it fits in a couple of our practices. But I have it here under talking. This is a magnetic wall story. Now, you can either have a magnetic wall, or you can even, I know libraries that have even purchased magnetic paint, and they just painted one wall or a section of a wall, and then magnets stick to it. This is an actual story. So, of course, it's the 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. You can imagine if you had this on your library wall, can you imagine how many children would come in and want to play with this and sing the song? So it's a wonderful idea, again, for narrative skills. Maybe having some play telephones. These are obviously tin cans, cups, and you could just use cups and strings. Kids will get the idea, but this is interactive. You have more than one child, of course, and they're talking to each other through these play telephones. Having a wordless picture book station in your library, and then a sign which says, "Tell the story of this book." Now, I tried to show some book covers there that are appropriate for very young children. Sometimes that is the difficulty with some of our wordless books. They're really, quite frankly, for early elementary kids. And of course, in this Every Child Ready to Read project, we are talking about children from birth up through age 5 or 6. So we're looking for books that might be more suitable for the very young child. When I was at Michigan on those 3 workshops, I mentioned Pat Shorey's. I know you can't see her name, but if you see the book there, Breakfast for Jack, she has a whole series of books, and those are particularly appropriate for very young children. She has numerous titles. Ball for Daisy's another good one, but there's several. I'm not showing any of the Wiesner books because, quite frankly, they're really kind of hard for young children to follow the action in the story. I think they're a little bit better for the upper ages. We talked about a picture walk in the workshops, but for those who might not have attended the workshops I did in Michigan, a picture walk, and you can do a Google search on this and get more information, but a picture walk is a way to have a conversation about a book with a child. And what you do is, before you read the book, and you don't read any words, you simply walk through the book and have the child talk about the pictures and what the child thinks is happening in the book. So you could have a picture walk, picture book station in your library. If you ever have time, you could sit down and go do some picture walks with children so that you could demo, how parents can actually do the same type of activity at home. But a picture walk, we know, is very, very good, again, for narrative skills. Some libraries have dramatic play areas where they have little dress-up clothing. The only thing that you have to be careful about with this, when you think of the hats, we always have to worry, of course, about lice or whatever. But having a little dramatic play area with little costumes and props is going to naturally lead to the child into different talking experiences. A train table. I know a lot of libraries have these. Again, children will love coming to the library to play with a train table. And you'll often find with the train table, again, a lot of experiences for kids talking. A lot of times they'll play together, and that creates, more chances for them to be talking. I'm mentioning particularly a fish aquarium. Kids can be mesmerized by these fish aquariums. They'll be run into the library just to go right directly to the fish aquarium. And they'll stand there for the longest time watching the fish and talking to the fish and talking about the fish. The advantage over a fish aquarium, over like having a hamster in the library or a cat in the library, we don't have to worry about allergies. So fish are good for that. Okay, those are some of the different things under the early literacy skill of talking. We're going to move next into singing. What are some ways we can encourage more singing within the library? Well, having a display of song picture books. There are just tons of song picture books that are very appropriate for very young children. I'm just showing a couple here, but I'm sure you know many more. So having a display of those, that'd be a great thing to display sometime during the year. Books with CDs, I'm sure a lot of you have those. You can have a display of those, and that leads us right into our next thing. Oops, I'm sorry. I guess it does not. Sorry. I must have had my slides out of order here. What I was going to say, and this slide will come up later, is having a little listening center with CDs or headphones that you can use those books with CDs. A music petting zoo. This actually came from one of the ideas outside of the Michigan workshops. I like that idea where kids can actually pick up and try playing some of these musical instruments. What I like about this particular library's display is that they also have the word signs there identifying the instruments, because this is also, having those signs is another thing that will help children with print awareness, knowing those letters mean something, that they're making up a word. And not every child will know what a castanet is or what a glockenspiel is. So having those word signs there and having maybe some more unusual or a little bit different instruments is really great for them to pick up and use. Make your own instruments. Again, this could be a little station you just have on one table in your library where you have some really simple little instruments that they could actually make within the library, kind of a thing they could come in and do at any time. There are a lot of really good books on how to make some simple musical instruments. Now here's my listening center. This is a great thing to have. I'm sure a lot of you do have listening centers where the kids can be listening to those books and CD and hearing those different stories on their own. It's a good thing to entertain kids for a while. Take-home music kits. Now I know this is not something that they're not necessarily going to use within the library itself, but it would be wonderful to have these little music kits. You know, not every child has instruments in their home or can afford to have instruments. And this is another good thing where you can include some, maybe some totally different things. West Music Company, I know, makes some really wonderful instruments for babies that are specific for babies. So maybe you want to do like a take-home music kit with instruments for babies and some really great board books. There's a lot of different ideas for music kits that you can do, but that would be a good thing to have to check out. I'm sure some of you might have had local musicians come in and play a concert in your library. That's a more easy thing to arrange. It's not going to cost any money really for you unless you give them a little stipend for coming in to do this. But sometimes you'll have musical students that will welcome the opportunity to have that experience. So having those concerts in the library, and the concerts are also a really good thing to get some newspaper publicity. I know a lot of times papers will want to cover things like that. So that's just positive to give you more coverage for your library. Now, I know some libraries have song charts in their Storytime room, but there'd be nothing wrong with having song charts or rhymes, wrap a rhyme. Maybe it's a poem that they could rap to, and having these signs throughout the library. I particularly like the one in the middle because they're also doing a rebus there, you know, where the kids, you put the figure there instead of the word. So that's another kind of clever way to make a song chart. So again, you know, maybe taking these outside of the Storytime setting and having them within the library. At your listening stations, you might want to have some song websites hooked so that the kids can get into those directly and get into different song websites. There's a lot out there that are particularly appropriate for the very young child. And the next one, recording songs. Kids will love this. It's like karaoke. I mean, they're going to love it. You can have little stations where you can actually buy those little units where kids can actually record what they're singing and what they're saying. So this will be a really fun thing to do with children. Okay, we're going to move on to reading, our next early literacy skill. And we're going to talk about ways that we can encourage readings. And the first thing is a reading nook. Now, I really like this particular picture. This is from a library in Iowa. It's the Iowa Public Library, actually. And they actually made this little reading nook out of books. You can see it online if you do a search. I just think it's fun to look at, but I think it'd also be fun for kids to crawl in there and want to read. Let's look at some other reading nooks. This is from the Randolph Library in New Jersey, and it's their picture book room. And they have an orchard along the wall. They have that cider truck reading nook. And that apple tree thing there you're seeing is actually a little puppet stage. So they tied it all together. It's very appealing. What child wouldn't want to run into the library and visit this particular library? It's very, very appealing. And I like that little cider truck reading nook. I think it's especially cute. I want to climb into this. I just think this looks like loads of fun. I would love to climb into one of those circles and sit there and read. And you can imagine how kids would want to do that. Now, this is something that's going to be more expensive, I understand, but I just want to give you some different ideas of some fun things that could be done. Having a rocking chair. A lot of times friends groups will sponsor this if you don't have money for it. Here we have a child sitting in it, but I think it's really good for parents to sit down with their young children, just pick up a book and sit in the library and read to them. It's just a quiet moment, a little time, a little relaxed time even for the parents. So having a rocking chair, I just think is an absolute necessity. I think everybody should have one of those. Think about your seating. And what kind of seating you might have. We have some beanbag chairs there. We have, in the picture on the left, I want to turn those chairs around so they're up against the paper book section. But just think about whether you have any seating on the ground that they can actually use. Karen's asking if anyone has any questions or any comments, and please do. Anytime. I'll try to keep watching to see if anyone does. Having board books at the baby's level is great. Now, that stand on the left is a very common one. I know a lot of libraries have it. I hadn't seen the turtle before. When I saw it, I thought that was really clever. I have to admit, with the turtle, though, if you have it real loaded like that, you'll probably find a lot of books on the floor later that you're going to have to pick up. But it's still kind of cute and puts books at their level. I think it's kind of a neat idea. Very popular right now are library story walks. This is just a really hot thing on all the listservs. And again, this is something you can do a Google search of library story walks and get tons more information about copyright and how you can do this. A very popular thing, a great thing to do in the summer, to have, if you have any kind of path or park. Some people take it outside the library setting and have it in a local park or whatever. But again, these library story walks, it's actually a book disassembled and there's a page in each thing and people can walk along and read the story. Does anyone, maybe you could raise your hand, does anyone have a library story walk at their library? I'll just wait a second to see if we get any comments from anyone. I know it's a very popular thing to do in libraries right now. I'm not seeing any hands going up, so it doesn't look like... Well, it's something to think about. I think it's a really neat idea. Oh, wait, we got some people typing here. Yeah, we're getting some comments. Okay, oh, we got a lot of comments. Okay, let me go back here a second. I'm losing my comments. My previous library did. Patty says planning one. Denise, oh yeah, we got all things. We did one last summer. We have a traveling one. That's great that we use it. Mindy says we have a traveling one. We use it at the library and community events. Anne's planning one. Diane's planning. Yeah, this is just a lot of Deborah. Jean says they're putting theirs at a township park. This is, seriously, there's been a lot. If any of you are on the ALSC listserv or any of the other listservs that have to do with literature, Kathleen did one last summer. Karen likes it. Yeah, I think the traveling idea is really good. It's something that, it's something you might want to think about. Like I said, it's a great thing to do, during the summer, and it does take a little bit of effort, a little bit of work, but again, if you do a search, you can get a lot of information on how to do those. Read to a buddy. I bet some of you have that program in your library too, where you read to dogs. I know that's kind of a popular idea, but I also like the little book buddy thing where they have characters related to children's books. You could actually read to them too, or talk, share their story with them. So that's another idea. Face-out displays. Again, this is, again, I call it the bookstore approach. If you walk into a bookstore, they have a lot of face-out displays, and a lot of libraries are doing this. Again, it puts those books at the eye level for children. I own both of these games, by the way. These are Melissa and Doug games, and they're really helpful for reading skills. If you remember, we're under the topic of reading. The one on the left I know looks like it's perfect for alphabet knowledge, which it is. but it also helps with phonological awareness. Basically, what this toy does is, let's look at the dog, for instance. If you want to make that little puzzle, that little two-piece puzzle, the only thing that's going to fit in that dog picture is the letter D. So the things are cut so they only fit with the correct picture. So it's a wonderful thing. You can just put on a table, a library table, and kids will love playing with that. Now the one on the right is really great for phonological awareness because it's talking about rhyming words like tree and bee and spoon and moon. Again, the puzzle pieces will only fit if they have something that rhymes with that: bear, chair, sock, clock. Again, these are not that expensive. They're still available. Melissa and Doug do not, as far as I know, I've never found an actual Melissa and Doug website, but there are a lot of stores that sell Melissa and Doug toys, and so you can do a search and you will find both of these, I think, fairly easily. Again, great for encouraging reading skills. Okay, a lot of us have summer reading programs, and we have preschool kids in our summer reading programs, but this is just a suggestion. Why not have a little reading program going on the same time you're doing your preschool story times? Let's say you have an 8-week or a 10-week preschool story time session. Why not have them record little books that have incentives during the fall or during the winter, so it's not just summertime? Have a story time reading program throughout the year. Every library I worked in, the last number of libraries I had worked in, I had tons of book character toys. The more the better. I had them all over the tops of the bookcases in the area where the young children's books are. And particularly the bigger the better. If you ever have a chance to go to New York City and go to Scholastic's bookstore, oh my gosh, I'm just like a kid in a candy store when I go there. I love buying all these different little characters. Of course, they're going to just have the Scholastic ones, but it's amazing how many of these things Scholastic has published. But, you know, these book characters, there's different websites you can order them. I have the largest Pete the Cat you can get. I think I have every size of Pete the Cat you can get. I have the real small one that's the size of your hand up to the very large one. So having some of these toys in your library, it just encourages kids. The kids love the books, they love the characters, and seeing those characters there again is going to make your library more inviting. Let's see, we got some comments going here. I need to yes, we were going to talk about the 1,000 books. That's coming up. Okay, Bethany did find
Can anyone hear me? Can you guys hear me? Oh, good, good. Okay. My apologies all the way around. I think this was a problem with our network here at the Library of Michigan, and I will try and get Sue back up in the presenter box. Hold on one moment, please. Okay, hopefully we can hear Sue again soon. And hopefully we will not drop out on our side. We're having kind of a slow network today. Sorry, guys.
Okay, can you hear me now or not?
Yes, yes, I think
Okay.
we're good. My apologies, Sue.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just, my whole screen went blank. And I apologize to all people listening. I see a lot of yes.
I think it was our fault.
Okay.
So, good to go.
Okay, good to go. Let's see, where were we at? Book character toys. Okay, I think I'm going to move on to the next one, which is and I saw different comments on this. I'll have to scroll back here. Let's see. Sound's going out. I hope you're all back on again. Mindy and Jessica, oh no, Mindy has actually done the 1,000 books before kindergarten with her Storytime families this year. Jessica's considering it. Again, I don't have time today to do tons of information on this, but the 1,000 books before kindergarten is a huge program effort that's going on, or has gone on for years. Seriously, if you just do a Google search on this, you will find a lot of information. And I know a lot of libraries are instituting this type of program. What I want to mention here specifically, and we're talking about the reading skill, is to make sure if you're doing this program, you have a lot of visibility. You know, you can have a lot of signs so that people know you're doing it, so that you can explain what it's all about. I think it's a really good program to do. And actually, Mindy Schaefer, if you want to type what library you're at, or if you wouldn't mind having people, they could maybe contact you if they want more information. Oh, she's typing now. Because you can get information online, but you know, if there's someone right within the state of Michigan that's actually doing this, maybe she'd be nice enough to let us contact her if we know what library she's at. Okay, let me see. I'm going to wait here a second and see if. Okay, a lot of you are Diane's starting this fall. Kathleen's starting this fall. Okay, yeah, Mindy's giving you the site of 1000booksbeforekindergarten.org, and that is a great site to go to. Demco has an archived webinar explaining the program. I don't know if I knew that. And then Mindy is giving you, if you look over there into the chat, she's giving you her actual, where it's at her, I'm going to say she's at, okay, I understand now. She's at DeWitt District Library, and if you go to her website, evidently you can get some more information on that. Pam is also giving you her library. If you look there in the chat, if you could get that, copy down those links there real quick, that would give you some more information. Diane is getting a grant to help with costs for this program. It really is a really good program. I know it's very popular. Well, it's actually very popular in a state where Demco's at, so I'm not surprised that they did a webinar on it. Let's see. Okay, Mindy's partnering with the Great Start Collaborative to do this. And Karen's telling us the links will be live in the recording as well. Okay, very good, Karen. Thank you. All right, let's move on. Okay, principles into practice. We're going to talk about writing now. This is our fourth early literacy practice. Okay, now everyone can do this. Have a writing center. The picture there in the bottom on the right, you can actually buy, not that you have to do that because you can assemble your own, but you can actually buy that whole little writing center like that, all set up like that. That's why it looks so neat, because it's actually an example from a magazine or from a early childhood supplier that you can purchase this from. But you know, having a writing center is really not that hard to set up, and you know, you have different kinds of markers. And one of the things I really want to encourage you to have is buy some of those Crayola large chubby crayons, because you have to remember the very young children need the large chubby crayons. It's easier for them to grasp them than the little skinny normal size crayons. So I would always make sure you have some of those. Have different types of paper, scissors even, having a writing center is a really, really wonderful thing to do. Now, a lot of these things we're going to be talking about in relation to writing actually have to do with developing children's small motor skills, because that is something that they need to do before they can actually learn how to write. So a lacing toy is an example of that. That's something that will help children with small or fine motor skills. That's going to eventually lead them to be able to write. Sandpaper letters, I have those also, and mine look pretty similar to those. Where I got mine from were Lakeshore Learning. They have both the uppercase and the lowercase. They will use sandpaper letters often in Montessori schools. The theory behind that is the children can actually feel the direction of the letter is going, which will help them learn how to write that letter later and knowing the directionality. So that's what sandpaper letters are good for. Stencils, tracings, rubbings. Again, something really easy to set on one of your tables or to have a little writing center. Not only does it occupy children, but again, it's helping them with small motor skills, as is Play-Doh. I used to buy the real tiny, you could go to the dollar store and buy little cans of Play-Doh. I used to give those out after my Storytime program sometimes. Now, Play-Doh is really good. Again, small motor skills, developing those little muscles in their hands. Excellent. This summer, I hope some of you will do sidewalk chalk activities. That's another thing that you can, that helps kids with writing skills. Very great thing to do in the summertime program. Having in your library dry erase or chalkboards. Again, not that expensive, kind of easy to get. I love Etch-a-Sketches. My whole career was spent in the state of Ohio. I'm in Pennsylvania now, but my whole career was in the state of Ohio. And Bryan, Ohio is where they make those Etch-a-Sketches. I actually went to visit the Etch-a-Sketch place. Kids love those things. The one on the left is like a doodle board or doodle mat. Again, very young children can get into that. Etch-a-Sketches maybe better for the older preschoolers, but just a wonderful little thing for them for writing skills. I know a lot of libraries have little post office dramatic play areas where you can actually have like a little mailbox that kids can actually mail little letters that they're used for their writing skills. So that's another good idea. And then just putting up some butcher paper on your wall with some crayons where the kids can color and, make letters. They've shown an alphabet one then there, but you could do almost any type of drawings or whatever on the wall. So that's another good idea. Let's move on to playing. Now I want to say first of all, if anyone questions the value of play as an early literacy skill, just go to the Association for Library Service to Children's website. They did a white paper on the importance of play in libraries, and you can download that. It's done in a lot of different formats. It's even done in a format that you could hand out at your library. What they have found particularly is we know dramatic play is very, very important, but what was interesting in that white paper is the importance of constructive play and how children have a lot of opportunities for talking with constructive play, even more so, they have found, than with the dramatic play, which is one of the reasons why so many libraries have got into the Lego clubs and other types of what I would call constructive play activities. Though some people did it because of STEM, but also because of that white paper and the findings of how important constructive play is. All right, so let's talk about play. Well, the first one's going to be our Legos, Duplos for the younger children, blocks. You can have Lincoln Logs, whatever. There are people that have little clubs, little Lego clubs. Here's our Melissa and Doug toys again. You'd think I would have stock in this company. I don't, but they just have their toys are not only so well made, but they're very educational. They're fun, but very educational. I guess that's why I recommend them so much. Pretend play areas in the library. I don't know if any of you have any pretend play areas you want to jot something down, let me know. The one on the right is like a little grocery store area. The one on the left is a little housekeeping center. There's also an art gallery there, but they have a little housekeeping center. Again, they just encourage a lot of play, which is going to also help with narrative skills. How about the carpets? Every library I was at, I had one of these colorful carpets, and there's so many of them out there you can purchase. I like the ones that for the young children that do have numbers or letters or colors or something on them. I think those are particularly appropriate. Dress-up areas, again, I'll be honest, if you have one of these, you almost have to have a washing machine in your library, though, because you'll have to be able to, or unless you want to take the stuff home and launder it, but there has to be some laundering done of this if you have a dress-up area. But they're perfect little sites for, for costuming for kids for dramatic play. Particularly like the little princess things, those outfits, the firefighter, those are particularly, I think, popular, and kids really love them. Now, you might just want to have some open-ended art or craft stations in your library. This is a caterpillar that goes along with a Very Hungry Caterpillar book. But just having some open-ended art, again, fun for the kids to create. They can do any time. It could be something setting out in the library, throughout the day. Kids could come in anytime and do the little art. And then if you tie it in with a book, that's even better yet. We talked about magnetic walls before. I know a lot of libraries have this, but I would really encourage it. And again, you can either get paint or you can buy large magnetic boards. But they're perfect. I would definitely have some alphabet letters. The thing with the alphabet letters, by the way, I like this particular site because the larger the alphabet letters, the better, because kids can actually then, again, feel the directionality of the letters. Sometimes if they're real small, they can't do that. So having larger letters, I think, are really great. Sand tables. Not only can they play in this, but you can also trace letters in sand tables. So sand tables is another fun thing to have. Now this is actually, I don't know if I have anyone from the Kent District Library that's online with us right now or not. This is the imagination stations that are at, I assume they're still there, at Kent District Library. They actually have structures that they have of little play areas that are supposed to foster children's imagination through dramatic play. And evidently they got funding from, who you can see there, Myers and Fifth Third Bank to create these little stations. Do we have anyone? I don't know, Karen's typing, we'll wait and see. But again, these are at the Kent District Library, which is in Michigan, and I'm sure you could get some information from them on how they develop these. She doesn't see anyone she recognizes, but KDL is a great place to visit for ideas. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that because that's an actual library in Michigan. Having sensory tactile toys. This is, I don't have the library name, do I? I'm sorry, I don't know which library this is. I probably could find it, but I don't see right now. But this has mirrors and different little secret pockets and some little instruments and spinners and all types of things that kids can reach out and touch. I know different libraries have a lot of these sensory tactile toys, and so that's another wonderful idea. Library spaces create exciting places for every child to get ready to read. What I'm going to show you next, I'm just going to go through these slides kind of quickly, but I'm going to show you, when I knew I was going to be doing this webinar, I put a request out on the Association for Library Service to Children, and I said, send me your pictures if you don't mind, if you're willing to have them, go on a webinar. Send me pictures of what you have done in your library to encourage activities in relation to the 5 practices, the talking, reading, singing, writing, playing, etc. So these are just some general things I'm going to show you that I received. Now this again is going to be one of your magnetic surfaces. This isn't a board. This is it's like a magnetic material that they have put up. And you can see they have all types, not only letters, but other types of things that they have kids play with. Very popular. Now I saw this at some different libraries, and I did see this at one of the libraries we did the workshop at, and I've lost which library it was. I'm pretty sure it was Grand Rapids, but I could be wrong. But they have little containers that actually have practices from the Every Child Ready to Read project, and they have little activities in these little containers that kids can actually get the little container out, and there's some little instruction there on what to do. It would also help the parent know what is encouraging. And this is just one example of that. And of course, those are those Melissa and Doug things again. Here's a library that has a little train setup that kids can play with, but they also have a little housekeeping corner there on the left, as you can see. This is a writing center, the one library said. What I liked about this particular picture, which is why I wanted to show it, is that the adults are getting into it just as much as the kids. I love to see that. I mean, what a wonderful thing for the parent to sit down and also get involved in the writing center. So I just thought that was a great picture. These next couple pictures are actually from a library in the Baltimore area. And boy, this is talk about construction toys. These are large, but kids love these. Here's another example, same place, on some of the different things they build with these. Again, another picture of that. This woman sent me a lot of pictures. I like this little thing she has set up. Take 5 minutes or an hour, build a car or build a tower. Make up a story, tell that too. I want to hear the tale from you. I might then ask a thing or two and listen for your point of view. And she has this set up for STEM skills, and she has a different STEM skills this is good for also. Another library system has these little exploration stations, and they change them all the time. Now this particular one had, I didn't show you all the pictures, but it had materials that they can make a little paper plate crown. So it says, read stories about princesses, kings, and queens. Pretend you are royalty. Talk like you are royalty. So there we got the talking in. Sing a song of sixpence. We got the singing in. We got the reading in. Talk about the names of other things you can wear in your head. She sent me a couple examples. Then she had a color sorting thing. Read books about colors, shapes, and the alphabet. Play I Spy games. Talk about colors as you go about your day. Pick up small objects that help with manual dexterity. And this is the color sorter that she had with that particular sign. And then they had this feed the alphabet monster. The alphabet monster loves to eat letters. And here he is, the alphabet monster. The kids could actually feed that. And then she also had a little writing. So I don't know if you could see it there on the side. She had a little piece of paper. I fed the alphabet monster, and then you're supposed to write down what letters you actually fed the alphabet monster. So that encouraged the kids to actually write certain letters too. This is another little writing center, and you'll also see they also have a little housekeeping center there also at this particular library. A beautiful carpet again, and I like the shelving here. Again, it's at their level. They can reach right into the books. Different library here again. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, well, a couple things I want to point out here. One is that little rug that's on the floor, which I think is great. You can put it on top of the other rug. Again, the shelving that's face out. But if you notice in the wall, you can only see parts of the poster, but you can see that one poster completely. Babies need words every day. Again, if you go to the Association for Library Service to Children's site, they have a lot of materials now on babies needing words. You can download that. You can make them into, that's where they got this at. So they're ready for a library just to use. All you have to do is copy them. You can make them into bookmarks, or you can do what this library did and blow up the poster and put them on the walls. So that's a really wonderful initiative that the Association for Library Service to Children is doing. If you've not seen that, again, just Google "babies need words" and you will find those things that you can just download and print off. They're wonderful. Another colorful carpet and another toy, that's sorting toy for this young kids involved in. Again, these are pictures from different libraries. This library has a little bit of everything. They have the puppet stage, they have some construction things, they have all time. I mean, what kid wouldn't want to come to this library? They have a beautiful colored carpet. Again, some puppets, some little toys and things for kids to play with. Another housekeeping center. And this is that library, which I can't seem to remember what library it is, but I could find it out. But they have the different tactile sensory objects for kids to play with. And this is another picture of that. I like how this particular library, you'll notice the shelving kind of has created a little, it kind of blocks off the little play area. I think that's kind of neat. So they just took one little section of the library that becomes like the big play area, and part of the display is kind of making that into a little individual area. I even love the decorations they have on the walls there. I think it's very appealing for young children. If we think about some of the different design principles we mentioned earlier, it really fits some of those. Now this is actually a little, the woman who sent this said they changed the center. I think she said they change it once a month, but it's like a little writing center though. I'm not seeing the paper and pencil and stuff there, but she said it's a little writing center, and that's a little post office box. And what this display was for this particular month was that you write a letter to Pete the cat. And what kid wouldn't want to do that? Because everybody loves Pete the cat. So she said they change it every month, but that was their Pete the cat one. Okay, now it's your turn. What are some of the things you can do? That's all my slides for today. I don't know if anyone has any questions or any other comments or any other ideas they want to share. I'm going to just be quiet for a couple seconds and see if anyone starts typing. I hope this gave you some ideas of maybe some simple things you can do in your library to encourage talking, singing, reading, writing, playing. Karen should have sent you, and I'm sure if you didn't get it, I'm sure she will send you, all the ideas I talked about on those slides. I actually have a little handout so you can remember them. You wouldn't have to take notes or whatever. I would welcome any other ideas if any of you want to send them to me in the future. It'd be great to know, because that's the type of thing I could share in a future newsletter. And we will be having, Jessica says, I want a bigger library. I love that. That was cute. Yes, Jessica, I know. So you can create a play area. That would be great. Let's see. There were a couple email addresses that bounced. If you're one of those, the handout. Oh, okay. The handout I sent, Karen says there were some email addresses that bounced, so you didn't get the handout. If you're one of those libraries where the email address bounced, she has the handout on the website. So you can, and again, all those slides that I showed you with the different ideas, they're on that handout, just so you can kind of skim through and say, oh, we could do this one, or maybe we'll try to do this one sometime. Patricia wants a bigger library. Diane says, we are fortunate to have an ELC room with many of these ideas. I incorporate sensory into my music and movement program. And yes, Diane, I know there are libraries that have a whole separate room. Patricia and those people who want a bigger library would be very happy to have your situation, because not everyone does. I know there are libraries that do, though. I know even the library where my grandkids attend, it's in the Chicago area. They have a whole separate room, and I'm telling you, my grandkids not only love picking out books every week, but they love going into that room and playing. It's just so neat. Okay, Karen's telling you the handout is at www.michigan.gov/youth library services. Then you go to the Every Child Ready to Read section, and the handout will be next to the webinar listing. Denise says, I use felt letters and numbers in story times. Yes, that's good to do too. Denise is saying that if you ever do an alphabet book, you know, if you have a felt board or magnetic board like next to you, you can actually point to, like I've put the letters up ahead of time, whether it be felt or magnetic, and if I'm sharing some kind of fun alphabet story that has alphabet letters in it, I'll just, like, let's say chicka chicka boom boom, because everybody knows that. I will just point like A told B, and I actually point to the letters. That's a good thing to do. So thanks for sharing that, Denise. Any other sharing at this particular time we want to do? Okay, well, watch for the, there's going to be a newsletter coming out every month. I think there'll be one here coming out hopefully at the end of April. Watch for that. I know we have another webinar coming up. In fact, I would like to mention those because I really think, you know, Every Child Ready to Read is about doing workshops out in libraries, but I know a lot of people are really interested in the Storytime angle, which is not part of the manual, but people have taken the practices and incorporated them into Storytimes. And the next two webinars I'm going to be doing, I would like to think are going to be kind of popular because they're going to be talking about incorporating the early literacy practices within Storytimes. And because I thought it was going to be a very popular subject, we have actually divided that into two different webinars. So the first one will be for like the babies and the very young toddlers, probably the 2-year-olds also. And then the other one will be on more of the older preschool ages. So that'll be coming up. Do you know where to get the magnetic stories and other play stuff? I'm pretty sure Lakeshore Learning, I'm pretty sure has magnetic stories. I'm trying to think if they do or not. I think they do. Jessica, I will try to search that out because I'm right off the top of my head, I'm having trouble thinking about that. But I will try to search that out, and that's something I could put in an upcoming newsletter. So you want to know for stories specifically. I know the letters I always got from Lakeshore Learning because they had the large letters and they weren't so expensive. They were $20-some at that time. I don't know, they might be a little bit more now, but I thought that was pretty reasonable. But one site I would check is Lakeshore Learning. It's LAKESHORE. Constructive Playthings might have some stuff. I've used them before. Does anyone else want to mention any other places that they can think of off the top of their head? Those are two sites, but I will try to find some more and actually put that in a newsletter. I know that you can make the stories from the patterns, and in fact I will try to put that in the next newsletter. I teach a class at Kent State University which is on literature for young children, and I give my students sites where you can download some of the common picture book stories. You can make them either into felt felt patterns, or you can make them into mag. I prefer magnetic just because for me, after a while, the felt falls off, and I like magnetic because it sticks real good. So I can supply some sites for that. And Mindy, again, is sharing http://learningresources.com as one place that might have some. And we'll try to get some more out there. I'm sure there's other places that have the actual stories. Okay, I think we're under the hour here now, and I want to thank you all for coming today. I appreciate it, and I hope you'll consider coming to attending the next two webinars, which will be in the summer. They'll be on story times. I know that's a hard time with summer reading, but I think it'll be a popular topic, so I hope to see some more of you then. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sue. For everyone who's attending, I have been recording, so I will send out the recording link to everyone who registered today. Feel free to share it with anyone that in your community or your other library staff. So thank you so much, Sue. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Karen.